Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Living Vexed with me, Nick, from This Veteran Can. In fact, I wear my glasses. I'm not reading anything today, so I don't need my glasses. Unless I'm trying to peer at the camera with blurry eyes that I've got now. I've lost count of how many takes I'm on because both dogs in the background have been determined to make as much noise as possible. They say don't work with children and animals. Well, I'm not working with them. I seem to be working against them, or they're working against me. But before this rant turns into how noisy my two dogs are when they're just trying to entertain themselves, I want to get to the matter in hand, and that's traffic lights. If you're like me, when you're walking around traffic lights, I think they're amazing. The pedestrian crossings help me get across the road, especially if it's one of them really busy roads. Absolutely fantastic, love them. Prefer zebra crossings, it's a bit quicker, but yeah, traffic lights have their place and do their job. As a driver, however, they wind me right up. So we live just outside Swansea, and if you've ever been to Swansea, it is the traffic light equivalent of what roundabouts are to Swindon. Now, if you've ever been to Swindon, Swindon is famous for not just for its number of roundabouts, but also for its magic roundabout, which seems to be 5 little roundabouts in this almost like pentagram shape to make one big roundabout, and it causes all sorts of confusion for people that haven't been there before. It can be quite funny and frustrating in equal measures, following someone who hasn't been there before. And when I came back from Afghan some time ago now, one of my mates was dropping me off in Swindon at the time, and I deliberately got him to go via the magic roundabout, and it cheered me up no end watching him go into near meltdown when he was like, what the fuck am I doing with this? But anyway, that aside, Swansea is the traffic light equivalent of all that, and it has at least 2 traffic light equivalent of magic roundabouts, it seems. Not that it makes it flow any easier. At least the magic roundabout, there's some sort of flow and you can get around, no worries. The traffic lights just seem to cause not confusion but delay, so much delay. If you're anywhere near Davati in Swansea, that set of traffic lights that just joins up multiple roads coming from multiple angles, get that at the wrong time on a Saturday morning or Friday afternoon, evening, and you can be stuck there for ages. Same with Park Towie. Apologies to anyone Welsh who can pronounce things much better than me. I ain't Welsh, you can probably tell by my accent, but I do my best. The traffic lights and the whole road system around Park Towie is designed to cause the most disruption possible. Pretty much like what the Spaniel's doing in the background now. She's going berserk. But we'll crack on and see how this goes. I don't believe it's like she deliberately waits for me to start filming again. I'm convinced she does it on purpose. Now it's the greyhound's turn as well. He's found his big squeaky ball. Okay. For about the 8th time, I don't know how much editing I've had to do all this. I've even lost my train of thought. Right, Park Towie, yeah, get that on a Friday afternoon or Friday evening, and you can be stuck there for what seems like forever. I got caught out with it just before Christmas, and I was almost in tears. I felt myself aging. I just sat in traffic that long. And I don't think that's even the worst part of Swansea. What I think the worst part for Swansea involving traffic lights is the road from all on the front of Swansea down to Mumbles. Catch that at the wrong time I think the only time that any good to drive down there is maybe the middle of the night or like first thing on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning before anyone's bothered getting up out of bed. It's the only time you're going to be able to get up and down that road. Otherwise, you can add 30 minutes to an hour onto your drive time, which is bad enough until the workers put out the temporary traffic lights and close a lane down. And that hour turns into what feels like a year added to your drive time. And it's not just there. Well, it's mainly there. That was just unbelievable when that was done the other year. But when I lived up in Birch Grove, again, the workers of these temporary traffic lights are even more annoying than the actual permanent traffic lights, because sometimes you don't even know if they're working or not. Especially when you come up to it, it's red, and the other side's red. And we're like, oh, hang on, they're both red. What do we do? We're watching some sort of Mexican standoff. But anyway, this one weekend, I was living up in Birch Grove. By the Costa, there's you got the junction with the M4, come off that, up the hill, got the Costa on the right, a bit further, you got a crossroads, traffic lights. And they seem to rotate round fairly regularly. One Friday afternoon, I noticed workers setting up, put the cones out, traffic lights, temporary traffic lights up, turn them on, fucked off for the weekend. Nothing was done on the weekend, and then at some point the next week they started working. Well, thank you so much for causing that extra disruption over the weekend. At the minute it's making me laugh, but I know at some point today I'm going to have to leave the house, get in my van and deal with these traffic lights. And I just want to know if it winds you up as much where you are as it winds me up as much where I'm here. It doesn't look like I'm that wound up, but inside my blood is boiling and I'm seething. So thank you for listening to me rant on about that and getting the load off my chest. Thank you for my dogs for finally quietening down enough that I can speak and you can maybe hear me. Up until the point I've gathered together enough money for a little microphone. That's coming in the future. Just when in the future, we don't know. But in fact, we do know. If you imagine that episode of South Park where they're talking about Game of Thrones and it's George R. Martin. That's my best South Park impression. And they're talking about, well, the dragons are coming. The dragons are coming. The dragons are coming. They're not coming. The dragons are coming. Go and see George R. Martin. Find out when the dragons are coming. That is going to be what's going to happen with this microphone. But please bear with me. Thank you for listening. If I mean even the vaguest bit entertaining, please like and subscribe, and I'll try and improve my content. See you later.